Yeah, so next one is going to be connection rod, which I'm just calling Rev1 because we're just going to add a view to it. We have it done. It's in the same, should be the same from week 8, yes. Week 8 in inches, this one again. I'll open up my drawings here and get some of these other ones closed up here. I'll do the same thing where I just kind of think about its orientation, but let me open my drawings first and save a copy. So back in week 8, we have this one, connection rod. Pull up its the prints for it here. Here's the attached ISO that we drew from originally. And here's my ortho with nothing on it. But it'll be the same thing. If I were to project this over here, then I think it'll be oriented like this with with this part down here. So is that right? Or did we decide we'd go this way? Well, that's a good question. Which way did I do this one? Technically, do I have that one oriented correct or backwards, maybe? Front view's right here. Yeah, yeah, okay. This is correct then. Yes. I like this. I think I've also drawn this one in Inventor as well at some time. Remember, yeah, this one here. I don't think I ever put it on a drawing, doesn't look like, but oh, that's going to open up another iteration of this one here. But yeah, it would be the same argument here as if I added a new drawing real quick. Just look at that view here. I'm going to place a base view. We chose these views as we did a section view instead of that view, but this is how the yeah, so this would be correct. Yep. The way it's drawn in the isometric that was provided for our dimensions is how I'm going to orient it for this way as well. Yep, I like it. That's how quick it is with the 3D program. So the pain of this will go away shortly, and we can focus more on the pain of the model, which is painful still, but less painful than CAD is. I mean, these views are painful because they're just not. I mean, yeah, we orient them like they're talking, but really they're not smart talking to each other. They're not. They're kind of dumb views, I call them. They don't move automatically. They don't. So you'll love this when we go to Inventor. The changes we make to our model will automatically update on the drawing. That's a wonderful thing. But this is one I'm going to save and do as a new copy, right? So I'll do that. I forgot to do that last till the end. So I'm just going to move this one to my new folder where I have a connection rod Rev1, but I'm going to do this one in class. Let's do this model then. Yeah, I don't have this one here. I don't know what construction layers for me I have here, just my main orthographic and maybe probably maybe a view alignment one on the page there. So I'll add a new construction layer here too. Started. On my ISO grids on. I think I'm on my ISO grid left. Yep. Just some overall dimensions here that I'll build my glass box here. It's only 1 inch deep by what overall. Yeah, this one I can kind of I have an overall dimension. Yeah, 3.5. So I'll draw my box that big, 3.5 by 7.13. Sure, that's what I'll build. This could be I could fall outside that a little bit based off of what my other dimensions are, but that's okay. I'll build it 7.13 by 3.5 by 1 inch. So kind of a narrow build on this layer here. So it's 7.13, 7.13. And it's only 1 inch wide. It's this here, right? So there's the footprint of the base. And then it's 3.5 inches tall, which is, not only at its max. Yeah, most of it is not that tall, but I'll still put it there. 3.25. Is that correct? 3.5. Sorry, that's 3.5. I could extend that a half inch maybe, or a quarter inch. Yeah. Let's double check myself here. This should be 3.5. Yes, like it. Maybe I'll just copy this. So this is the height of the, and I can just connect these ends to ends. Probably start this one maybe based off here. That's where it's a full. I think I'll start here, project back from there, kind of. Yeah, I think I'll start with my ISO circles here because those ISO circles for these are going to be right on those front and back surfaces of my glass box here. So I think so. Let's put those in, at least where the centers go. They're going to be, one center is going to be that, and then the other direction is going to be half of 3.5. That's 1.5 plus a quarter, 1 3/4. I think so. 3.5. I don't really need to know that one as much as I need to know, not much there. Actually, their centers are just right on the, I don't really need to worry about that too much because I have a center, I have a midpoint of this line. So they're just going to be built off that midpoint. That's perfect. Let's do that. Visible, just what are those radii? They are 1 inch and 1.25 inches. Okay. Put both of those in on this front surface. I think from here, 1 inch is one of them. Repeat that with an iso circle, 1.25 inches. Maybe I'll trim this out. And I'll copy that to the back surface. By the center and over here to this midpoint here. Yeah, like that. I like that. And I'm just going to join these ends together with a line. So tops here, that one goes to there. Yeah. And I'll have to trim this out, whatever. So I can see I'm going to have to trim this here, right? That's going to trim out. This will be gone. This will be gone. Trim that. I'll leave some of that. That's going to also probably trim out in a minute here. I'll leave it for a second. This one we would lose though, huh? We weren't not going to see this or that. That looks correct. You need to trace those edges though on this one. Up here too. Yeah, this one's going to be a bunch of ISO circles as well, it looks like to me.
Should be that like the curving line on the back
Right here.
lines up perfectly with the corner of the convection line.
It does. You can see this like
curves right up.
right up to this to where you think it's this, yeah.
Right up.
Yeah, it's we get some weird alignment for sure, huh? It's like perfectly aligned. Yeah, I like that. That's good. I might go ahead and put in my back. I like the back, and then I'm gonna hook them together across that middle. It's a little, I don't know, it's a little the way they hook together across the middle is definitely a little tricky. They've got all this radius going on here, or I could keep working on this too. Maybe it's just maybe I should just stay focused on putting in some of these details here, and at least the outer profile of this. I can always come back to put the whole features in. Yeah, this could, a little tricky to maybe align this. I feel like yeah, so maybe I'll build this, add these little the uh the radiuses that hold the holes there, and then I'll come back here and probably build this. Then I'll just worry about joining the two together between. I'll put these holes and this like slotted feature in probably last. Yeah, I think that's the way I'm going to proceed here. So let's try to figure out those details there. They're just how wide this way. They are a 1/4 inch radius. This is like a 1/2 inch wide across here. And the centers of those are a 1/4 inch up from where I just drew, or 3 inch center. I like this 3 inch maybe better. So I might draw some construction work that's 1.5 inches from here to here. So I think I'm gonna, yeah. I think I've got it. I'll pull that over to my other screen. I think I might have to look at that a little bit while I put this in. So what I might want here, I think, is some center line work for sure on the right side surface. All of those features are kind of based off the center line this way for sure. So I'm just going to put it in. That'll be now I just need to put in, they're 3 inches. Oh, I might do one more. I might put in a center line across this midpoint to midpoint here. I didn't use it yet, although I did place my iso circles from those midpoints. So there's my little center line on my surface there. And from here, it's 1.5 inches to the hole and the radius feature. That way it'll give it a 3 inch from hole to hole. So I think I'll trace over. Yeah, I can just trace over that with my same construction layer, I think. I'm going to trace this line 1.5. Then I have an endpoint there yep, where those iso circles can be built. And I'll do the same little bit here. Just from here, I'm going to draw a line over the top of a line. That's 1.5. I'll have that endpoint to align to. Good. I think I can do my iso circles now on this front surface or this right side surface. It is. Yeah, they're 1/4 inch holes, but the radius is also a 1/4 inch. So I'll do the outer radius first. I'll come back to the holes later. Let's see. ISO circle. This one I'll have to change my plane, my projection plane, right? Because if I'm ISO circle on this particular plane, which I didn't have to make a single plane adjustment on the last drawing at all. But an ISO circle, I want that ISO circle to be here. It's going to be driven by that left grid plane though, so I got to change that to the right, I think. ISO plane right. Yeah, this grid is where I want my ISO circle here. So yeah, crazy. We didn't have to change one time on the last drawing. So ISO circle on that endpoint for a 1/4 inch radius, which really should be here. That is a 1/4 inch, yes. 1/4 inch. That's the overall. I'm gonna copy that down to the base here, or down to the bottom. Copy. Because I drew that line already. So there's my endpoint somewhere right there. Okay. Those should go vertical up with a line from some point of tangency. Yeah, I'm not going to pull from the quadrant here. I'm definitely looking for like a tangent to straight up on the projection plane till it intersects that, right? It's definitely, yeah, this one might pull up that intersection. So I might just like lock in for a tangent a tangent grip here if it'll pick it up. It doesn't want to pick that up though here. It's funny, it wants to pick it up there, but I don't think that's going to work for me. It's not in the right spot. So, I don't know. I could do some things here. Just copy this over. If I just copy this,
What if you get your gambit right on the other?
mine just actually worked. So if it didn't work, then that, which might be the case. Let's see if I can mess mine up and see if I can repick, because
0.25.
for sure you can do that too. For sure. Like if you can come out here to this, track back, because it's 0.25, and then you go straight down. You could do that where you pull, either lock in there or pull long and trim that to fit. Yeah, that's good too. And then I was just going to copy that over. I was going to copy this piece over, maybe by here, and just copy it over to here. If I can get it. I don't really like that as much. I think I'm going to draw that the same way. I just don't like the alignment on my part there. So I think I'm going to do that as well. Come over 0.25 and come down. Trim this. Then this will all trim out now too. And we'll get our tombstone shape. I think that has a specific depth to it, and take a look here. 1/2 inch deep, and then it comes back straight up. So I think I'm gonna draw a little center line here, just a construction line, just to place that thing a 1/2 inch back this way. 0.5, that's the end of where the tombstone, it looks like it aligns with everything perfectly. So I could copy this tombstone shape. I'd really only need this and this for a minute. I don't really need that other side. I copy that from this point back to this point. That's the tombstone that I could trim here now. And then it needs a line, hopefully maybe on a quadrant or on, there's a quadrant. I'm on the wrong layer, but that's okay. I'll draw it anyway. I zoom in here a little bit. Push that to this layer. Trim it. Then you won't see this part either. So it look like that. That looks correct. I think that's almost mostly ellipse than it is straight. A little bit of straight there, but because I copied those two parts over, so I had that little bit of straight. It's just barely. Yeah. That's ready for, I think that's kind of ready for a whole feature there. Well, and there's one more trim to do, huh? Because that's actually a joint surface. So this technically is all kind of a blended surface here with the hole in it. Yeah. So that's more correct. I just gotta do that up top now. That detail in. I think this kind of blocks any of the transition from, there's that really big, when we did the orthographic view, that was maybe tricky to place that. Yeah, I've already graded all those for sure. But they were week 8. I think I'm on week 10 grading. So, all right, let's do these ones. I think I'm just going to go on the visible layer here and do the same. Come over from here, 1/4 inch, 0.25 cursor over and up. I like that.
How did you connect
The two right here. Yeah, this one was, so I definitely drew it here, and then I had to draw this line in, just so like I had to draw, this is a 1/2 inch from that center over. It really, it does looks like it aligns perfectly with this where all these points come together. So technically you don't really have to draw, but I did. I drew this as a 1/2 inch over, and that's how I knew to copy that part and this part by this center point. And then I just moved them over to there. So I had that. And then when I connected these two, I kind of looked for that quadrant grip to show up. Yeah, if I delete that one again, once I had those, that was a longer line, but I think it was quadrant to quadrant that I had connected there. Yeah. I'm gonna have to do the same thing here. I'm gonna have to, I kind of need to know like a half inch back, how far that is. First, I just put in this little line that's just a quarter inch over from the center. I can redo that on the other side from here over. Where its tangent would work. Sometimes I just don't trust it, so I pull it long. That tangent grip just kind of does sometimes do weird stuff, I feel like, but it'll pick a point of tangency, whether it's the one you want or not. And then, so I'm gonna add one more line here, like I did on that underside. I just drew a line back from here. I think I'll do it on the top though here. Let's go. I'll draw this line back a half inch. So there's an endpoint to copy that stuff too. So maybe I'll trim it first. This surface would be trimmed, and this would be trimmed. This can be trimmed out. This will end up being trimmed as well. Can't see that. So there's a pretty good look at the surface. Let's copy. What I would need here is I definitely need this. I probably don't need that one. I need this one though. And then this is going to copy back. I'm going to take it. No, I'm going to take that other piece. So I'm going to pick the whole tombstone shape, I think, on this one. Copy it back a half inch. There it is. Well, I really don't need it, I guess. It will be hidden, but better safe than sorry. Really won't be sorry. So now I'll finish this. There should be a quadrant here. And maybe sometimes it helps is maybe I'll turn off my grid for just, or my construction for just a minute. Looks to me like I hadn't quite finished trimming this shape before I copied it. So let me get in here and trim this. Trim, trim. From here, we're gonna look for maybe this quadrant here coming back this way. Pull it through, or right there is good. Can't remember if did I put I may have put a line in there. I don't think you would have to though. I think I can keep this as all kind of one continuous surface, this curved surface. I just need to trim it to show that. This would be trimmed out as well. This will eventually get trimmed. I'm leaving it in there for a minute, but it's gonna, I think I have a little straight section. Let me see. Yeah, it goes back 3/4 there. So technically this line is gonna go back and extend an additional like quarter inch and then go back and meet this other side. So really I feel like this line should have gone like another quarter inch, and then it should turn back this way until it terminates and goes behind like this, right? Like that's that surface. But it'll eventually meet that big radius here. And then, oh, you know what I need to do though? I need to copy this over to here. And that's really what that's gonna, yeah, I am missing one little detail here. It's just, is this curved surface here, I should see it until it kind of falls out of sight right here. So I'm gonna make one more copy. This is just without my construction layer on. And that's what's ultimately gonna hide this. So this is gonna get trimmed out. I can trim it now. And I'm gonna make a copy of this particular iso circle. I'm gonna copy it by this point though, and move it over to here. Yeah. I only needed a small section of it, so I can trim all this out, but and then I'm going to pick up a line here between those two, maybe a quadrant to a quadrant or beyond here. That looks pretty good. Trim this now. So that's at least ready to try to work on the transition between those two. Yeah, it's going to sit out here somewhere. Okay. Any other details I'm missing on that? I think that looks pretty good. Other than the holes, I could put those in too before I move on, I guess, since I'm almost there. Just as well put in there just quarter inch holes, so I can put those iso circles in. They're on the same center point as the outer radius right there. quarter-inch diameter holes, so they're going to be an 1/8 inch, and it's a quarter inch divided by 2 is actually an 1/8 inch, 0.125. I'll copy that down to the same center point. There should be an endpoint here, right there. Okay. Those are definitely, that's a thick little block. If I was to copy that through its exit, it's definitely only like this big, so it's not gonna, I'm not gonna see it through. So that's pretty well, pretty good on those features. Let's try to like piece it in from here and come that way, I think is the way I'm gonna work. It's 6.5 over. Like I did draw my box the full encompassing. So really my box is like the whole boundary. I want this dimension here though to build off on the backside. That's 6.5. So I think what I'm going to do is just draw a construction line. I don't even, it's funny that I must have just accidentally clicked over to dimension layer, but, or no, it's because I selected dimension, sorry. So here we go. From here, it's going to be 6.5 back, 6.5. That's really, and I'm going to push this to construction layer, but that's where this is. I'm considering this on the front surface. That's why I didn't go clear to the left side edge there, but this is the center for the features on this back, the cylinder shaped features on the back. So I can place 2 iso circles from there. I could also take this line and figure out where that, I'm gonna have to copy whatever I do here. I'm gonna copy over to this backside surface. So, and that's an inch. So I'm just gonna draw an inch line. So that is, and of course it's on the wrong layer because I'm just gonna stay on this construction or visible layer because I'm about ready to do visible work. But yeah, so this will be the endpoint, the center point for the front side surface iso circles. This will be the endpoint for the back side surface. So whatever I do here, I can copy back. Let's do that. It's I'm looking at my drawing here. Or
0.5 back.
up 1 inch is what I went for the full width. It is 1 inch deep here. Yep. So I actually went off that center line 1 inch. And now I'm going to put in these iso circles that are 1 and 1 1/4. I guess it's, oh, these are diameters. These are the radius. Kind of funny that match. I mean, they're just radius versus diameter, but so my iso circle is built off radius. So the little one will be a 1/2 inch radius. This one will be a 1/2 inch plus an 1/8 inch. So that's 0.625. Hey, we've had to do that one. We've had to divide 1 1/4 a bunch today. So points, I should get that almost memorized. 0.625 is half of 1 and 8. 1 1/4. So let's do this. Iso circle on my visible object layer. The outer diameter one is an inch. Oh, I'm on the wrong ISO grid. Easy to note, recognize that now. So I'll turn this to my, I'm gonna go back to my left ISO circle, or yeah, my left ISO plane. Now I can redo that on the correct plane here. This one, yeah, it looks correct. The larger one is 0.625 radius, half of 1 1/4. That looks good. It pretty much intersects where I thought it should. Maybe a little bit off, and I do think that was. I'm not going to worry about that little bit there. This I mean, maybe I'll double check my line to make sure I didn't make a mistake, but it should be 6.5 inches from this center to this center, which is definitely my most. I'm going to hold that critical more than the overall. So I'm okay with that. A little bit of misalignment. That's okay. If it's my visible line work, I'm going to be a little bit, I'm going to try to get that to be tangent to tangent for sure. But then the other iso circle is just a 1/2 inch radius one for the inner bore, the inner diameter, ID, inside diameter. 0.5, yeah. And then I can copy both of those over. I don't think I see the, I can check this real quick. Like if I copy this one over, I don't think I'm going to see it at all. So I'm not going to see the exit of the inside diameter. I'm just going to see the outside diameter over there. So I can just copy just this one from its center over to this center, right? And then I'll just do my lines, my projection lines from a quadrant, hopefully. Yeah, there's a quadrant. quadrant to quadrant. I'll do both top and bottom. So I'll build this part as I can see it, trim it out to fit here. This is gone. That's really it. That was actually an easy one to trim. Now I just got to connect the two. Let's see. I might kind of keep track of where that center of that is between the two, right? So, because I've been drawing it a 1 inch wide here, but across here it's only a half inch, but it's really, from center it's a 1/4 inch and a 1/4 inch. I might just keep track of where the center of that is. So I might draw some center lines to work from here, and maybe on a new layer, maybe I'll just or I don't know, it's not too bad through here. It's good. I'll keep going. What I'm saying that I kind of want to know though is I might build, well, I don't know, maybe I'll something that will visually look so I can keep track of it. You don't have to do this. I'm gonna do one new little layer here. However you want to do yours is fine. I'm just gonna turn one more layer, just a different color real quick. Okay, great. I got it. Got another construction layer with a different color. What I might just do is like just do a little boundary box for this almost like a little half, or what is the overall dimensions here? I'm thinking of, oh, it's 3/4 by half. I might build just a little rectangular boundary box for this to fit in here. And a lot of that I can just trace over once I do that. And then try to figure out how to make this tangent to these iso circles, where the centers of those might be. I don't think I explicitly on my drawings call out where the centers of those iso circles are, like we did on that X plate from the last drawing. Um, So I can figure it out from my orthographic view, though. I probably have the information already drawn on my drawing here, right here. I could probably like measure over and find out where that center is to where I could put in an endpoint to draw. Might be a good argument of why one view, why orthographic views might be um, helpful to draw isometrics. I may have had to do that here, is like draw in orthographic first to try to piece it together. But what I'm saying I'm going to do though is just kind of put in this. And how do I want to do this? Well, I might build this little magenta box, because what I'm saying is a boundary for that overall piece between the two is kind of from center over a 1/4 inch, um, and it's 3/4 up this way. So bear with me while I build a little like rectangle here. The overall thing is 3/4. Half of 3/4 is 0.375, 3/8. From center, I mean, the whole thing width is a half inch, so half of that is 0.25, 1/4 inch. And then it's 0.75 long, 0.375. Oh, I did that wrong length, didn't I? Must have. Let me redo that one. I'm just building something I'm going to project through to the back surface as well. So this would actually be 0.5, sorry, 0.5 by 0.75. There's my rectangle. I'm just going to project this back like its own little glass box. That's Oh, and what do I want to do here? I spend a little more time on my construction stuff than you have to, but it's mostly just so I can show you where I'm heading here. But I'm looking for like a center point on this back left side surface, essentially. I'm going to copy my little magenta box here. Copy this thing here, which is in a few pieces. Really only need the outside boundary here by its center point. I'm going to just copy it back to this center point now. I have a midpoint here now. That's that. So it's essentially how that part like pulls through my two parts. I'm just going to pull the lines together now to the box lines here. I'm on the wrong layer for some reason. Yeah, because I moved.
How did you do the box?
Yeah, I really drew it here, and I just did that because it's going to be easy to project through everything a little bit. But it is so the overall dimensions of it based off this are going to be 3/4 by 1/2 inch. So I made this my rectangle 3/4 by 1/2, and so when I went over here, I already had the center lines on this right side surface put in. So initially, I first drew a line up here that's just 1/2 of 3/4, which is 3/8. So my first line I drew in here is like 0.375 from the center up. And then I drew over from there a 1/4 inch because the whole thing is a 1/2 inch. So I went a quarter. So I went 0.375 up, 0.25 over. And then from there I went 0.75 down, 0.5 over, 0.75 up, and then back. So I had my rectangle box. So it's in segmented parts, but then I had to put in like something over here. I never, on my left side surface, I'd never put in any kind of center grid like I did over here when I built the information. So I came back here and at least I just put one center line across because it has a midpoint, and that's where I copied that back. Yeah, that's my midpoint there. So I copied my little right side surface rectangle to the left side surface. And now I'm just tracing these over to hook all the, so I can give myself a real good headache here. No, actually having the different colors helps me just kind of overlook the other construction layer. In some ways I can kind of probably turn off that blue box now and just kind of work from here. Because how these hook together will be, yeah, will probably be kind of tricky, I guess. I don't know. Let me turn off this blue grid real quick. Yeah, I did. I kind of pulled that through there, like, so that's all I have left now. Kind of pulled them through from left to right. You don't have to do it this way. It's just a way for me to kind of visualize that, which still gives me kind of a weird look here, but that I can see my top surface, my bottom surface, and my front surface. Sometimes I have to blink my eyes so it doesn't look like it inverts itself on me. It's kind of like I feel like I'm looking at like what do they call those? Thinking of I'm thinking of oh, what is that freaking weird show? A Wrinkle in Time and the whole what is the term for the fourth dimension? Like I don't know. You guys know A Wrinkle in Time? I can't move on. Yes, that's the word I'm looking for. It's like a tesseract, which is like isn't a tesseract like a fourth dimension looking at a cube or something? And it yeah, the tesseract. Yes. I'm not there, but I feel like my eyes are trying to go to the fourth dimension. The tesseract. You got it. Yes, you knew where I was going. I love it. All right, so which it just boggles my mind to even try. I don't even understand the tesseract concepts. Now I got to look at. Now I'm going to spend my afternoon like YouTubing tesseracts. Okay. Um. So maybe I don't know which way do I want to do. Which way do I want to build this thing? Maybe I have to look at this. I think I've got to know where those centers are for these arcs.
Yeah, because is there an isometric tangent function? I don't think I've found it.
Yeah, it's probably going to be through an arc of sorts. There might be some arc that's going to work for you here, some combination. I'm probably going to do mine as iso circles again. If I can just pinpoint those where those um, center points might be for these.
What's on YouTube and say you had used spline tool.
Mm.
Good.
Oh, the spline tool is hard. I agree. Yeah. I agree with that. So I think so what I'll do, I think I will find these center points here. So I can dimension that out, or at least slap a temporary dimension on here. I'm not going to leave it there, but there's that. So maybe I want to know what the center is from here. Looks like it's 0.88. That's probably, I'm gonna increase the precisions of these when I see that, just because I'm gonna try to get some tangent to tangent. I don't know. So maybe I'll take it out to 4 decimal places. So really, that center line of that arc is up 0.875. That's 7/8 from the center up. And then maybe I just need to know maybe from this back center a good dimension that way too. So from here, I'll look for that center first. There's that center. If I just hover over the geometry, I can pick center. I just want to know back to here, right? But in this orientation, I'll increase its accuracy too. So I'm just going to increase this precision to 4 decimal places, mostly because we're drawing to kind of 4 decimal place accuracy, I think. So 0.7071. That's the center there. So I can work with that. It's gonna be symmetrical over center, top to bottom. So these dimensions will work that way as well. So let me just put in those. And I mean, this might help with my tesseract. I might just do another layer. There's nothing wrong with adding another layer here. I'm gonna go back to blue on this layer. That's what I'm thinking. Or cyan, is that what they call that color? Cayenne? What is it? It's not cayenne. It's cyan. Cayenne is the pepper, right?
Red.
Oh, it's red. It should be red for sure. We copy this. Cyan. I'll call it blue because I just bait it. Cyan. That makes sense. And I want it to be blue though. I mean, cyan. Okay. Blue, the true blue doesn't show up too good. It's kind of dark against a dark background. But what I want to know is kind of where to base that off of. It's got to be the center lines of this. So maybe I will put the center lines in of this circle here. I just might pull one up. I'm on the wrong layer. Let me go back to the whole reason why I created this was to get a little contrast here from here up. That's the center. I just pulled it arbitrary up and out of my way because really what I need to know is come up that distance that I dimensioned here, 875. And then I need to go from there over. I need to go that weird point 7071. I'll just punch that into my calculator so I don't forget. 0.70. Sorry. Never likes me to do that. That's the dimension that I have to come over. I just have it there so I can remember. So it comes up this way. From here, this center line for that radius is up 0.875. And then it comes over 0.7071. So that is where the center line would be. This is, I went up 0.875. 0.875, yep. And then I went over that weird 0.7071. That's definitely like where those are based off of. Like I'm on I have to visualize, I'm kind of on the front surface though, right? And so really I could have, like, I've kind of made one mistake here. That is that I've based this off of this surface right here. And technically I want to base this off of where this surface is, this front surface right here. So I'm going to correct this a little bit. Technically, I'm just going to move that in just a minute, but what I want to know is the difference of from here to the center is 0.5. This thing is a 1 inch. So this, I'm just going to move this drawing that I made right here, this and this. I'm going to move it over to the center here. Because I'm just going to kind of build based off center. I mean, this is kind of weird. I'm building this weird little tree, but it's like a Charlie Brown Christmas tree in some ways. It's just got center points on it. And I didn't really need it above this at all. Like this is all just kind of overdrawn. Really, the 7/8 only comes up to right there. So what we're kind of working on right now is a three-dimensional electrical diagram in some ways, right? Like that's kind of how they do three-dimensional electric, or they do piping ISO like this. Oh, we haven't got to that in our books, but we will next semester.
Well, the 48
0.875. Yeah, 0.875, and that is 7/8 essentially. 0.875 and over there. And now I'm kind of on center of my half inch here. I still need to. When did I move it? Yeah, I moved it. I moved it to the. I drew one more line from here that's a half inch over from that center of this. Yes, because technically when I first drew it in, I was visualizing that I was on this surface, but really these things are need to be moved into this surface. But really, I just moved it over to the center of this essentially. So, like if I were to drop this down, we'd be centered on our top surface of where this of where my rectangular little magenta colored box is. Sometimes I just have to think through this a little bit and piece it together, but um and, and then and then from here, right? Like I have to think, well, now I'm on center, but the iso circle that I really need is going to be from over a quarter inch over on each side here. So I've still got to add a little bit to my tree here. I'm coming back this direction now, 0.25. I know this is going to be a little bit confusing for sure. And it's the way I'm visualizing this is not the only, you could have done this a myriad of ways. Like, so I could be confusing people like, I wouldn't have done it this way. And I get it. So it doesn't have to be done this way, but this is what I've created is now us, these end grips where that iso circle actually lives here. That's the center of the iso circle. And I've just kind of pieced my way there by saying, I kind of follow this to me. I'm really basing all my moves have been based off this center here. I first dimensioned this so I knew what that center is. It's 7/8 up, 0.875, and it's that far over. That's all great and dandy, but really it's not on this surface whatsoever. It's clear back based off this surface, which is really a quarter inch away from me from here. So I went back to the center of this surface, which is a half inch. Then I did my little drawing up, and now I've come back to the quarter. So now what I'm looking at here is this is like yeah, this is where, I don't know, this is going to work for me, but it's hard to explain. And so what I'm looking for is an iso circle that's that radius now with these as center, these endpoints as center. And they will be, what is this radius? I can't remember. These are just a quarter inch radius, right? Two of them, quarter inch radius. This one here, 0.5. Oh yeah, I'm looking at this. Sorry. Good. 0.5. Good call. Good call. I should read my own freaking drawing, right? Yeah, 0.5 radius. Yes, I love that. So I'm gonna move over to the visible line work here. And whether I should have started with these or not, I don't know. This is just kind of what I'm thinking. And so this will be an iso circle. I'm currently on, I haven't changed projection planes yet. I'm still on iso plane left, right, left, right, left, right, right, left, left, yeah. Left, correct? Yes. And so this is half inch radius, right? 0.5. And you're like, well, what the heck am I looking at here? I'm like, well, I haven't really copied this yet over either to where that's going to match. So, oh boy, this is going to be a little tricky, huh? So you guys probably had to copy this piece over to that, like over a quarter inch from here, right? Yeah, because what we're looking at, if I'll go back to this and look, what I'm trying to piece together here, I'll zoom in a little bit here, is I've just kind of drawn this full iso circle right here. That's what I've got. I only need a teeny little bit of it actually, but I got this full drawn circle now. That's kind of where this run out is, right? We call this run out when we think we're gonna change the definition of run out next semester, but run out is kind of where this rectangular meets this cylindrical shape, where these two, kind of disappear into the same surface. So that's all well and fine here. I've got that part, but what now I want to know is where I need to put this curve in here, which should just be this iso circle copied over. So this outer diameter iso circle just copied over to where it meets this front surface of the rectangle here. Yeah. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm just going to copy this over, and I just got to know how far to copy it over. Well, this is 1 inch. This is a half inch. So really what I have, and it's all symmetrical. So what I have is a 1/4 inch of and a 1/4 inch this way. So I'm gonna copy this iso circle kind of from its center over a 1/4 inch. And then I'm gonna look for where those two kind of they should create a point of tangency there between that one I just placed and this next one I'm gonna move over. Then I'll trim all that to kind of just be originally just like this and this. And then from there, I'm going to start tracing my line that I've already got that's magenta. And then I've got to work this all out here. So yeah, and I've still got to do the ISO circle for here too. And it's going to be kind of the little tree that I built above. I'm probably going to build it below in order to put that in there. So, but I think, and then I still need to copy it over here to do this side, the back side of that. And that's fine. I'll do that second. I think I'll work on trying to get this drawn in now. And then maybe this even, and then I'll worry about getting that copied over to its thickness. But let's do that. Let's see. So all I'm going to have is a little piece of this left over. You can see that I'm on the front surface. This is the front surface of the rectangular magenta boundary. And I'm tangent to it now. That's good. This is where my line's going to take off and go towards that front. So let's just copy this one over a 1/4 inch, which I don't have that. This is a 1/2 inch line, so I might just trace over this. With maybe just with the magenta line will be fine here. I'm going to trace over this a 1/4 inch, 0.25. Now I've got another endpoint. And what I'm doing is I'm copying this outer diameter from its center, which is on that endpoint. I'm going to move it over to here. And so what I'm getting here is you can see that when I get this over right, I'm getting tangent to that last ISO circle that I just placed, right? I mean, there might be a little bit of inaccuracy. I don't know, because I tried not to. I tried to hold my dimensions where I placed the center. But this should have created a point of tangency. And that's going to be where those two terminate. This is the surface coming in, hits that little radius, and it hits that. And then they're going to eliminate each other right here, actually. So now maybe I'll just turn this off and try to make sense out of my visible lines. Because that definitely looks weird to me. It's hard to visualize this, but all I really need is this little bit coming around, and so I'm not going to see this. I'm going to leave that for just a second. I'm not going to see this though, or this, or this. And this is going to trim out pretty much to that point of tangency, just like this is eventually going to trim out there. Yes, we can start to see this, right? I'm going to trim this too. Got to trim the right stuff though. I might not trim too much more of that. Oh, let me see. This iso circle, is it the one that kind of comes up here? Yeah, I think so. I won't trim this yet because I don't want to. I need to terminate it here, but we can kind of see that coming together now. I just need to take where that off and follow that down. So maybe I'll put that in temporarily. Yeah, let's do that. So I can kind of finish that trim. So what's going to happen is if I'm on my visible line work, it's going to terminate different out here. I'm going to draw this over to this point to kind of block in our top surface. So here's where maybe they intersect. That looks good. I'm going to draw this over the top. And I'll terminate it here for right now, but that's going to also like have to flow from here to here with a big radius. It'll have to find the center of. So that's kind of what that's going to look like. I'm not going to draw this side yet, but what that's going to do is help me trim out the rest of this that I don't need, right? This is all gone. This is all gone. And this will help me trim. That's the only little piece of that iso circle I needed. So of all that, I like that when you select these, it kind of shows you, the original, but it's just that little sliver. Yeah, that's starting to come together. Now my tesseract is like stopped spinning in my head a little bit. So now I'm starting to get some sense out of it. But what I need to know is kind of where this little tree is down below, right? I need to know to make another iso circle that's going to create this from this. This is the bottom edge of my box that I've got to pull across, but I need it to flow right here. So let's do this little tree. At least that's what I'm going to do. Build the reverse of it. I think I did that on this construction layer 5. And so essentially I've locked it in here. I really can just branch it down now from here, right? It's going to be down. That's 0.875. That's symmetrical, 0.875. And then it comes this way, that weird dimension, which I still have up on my calculator because I never would have remembered. 0.7071. And then these little branches are just 0.25. I don't know. When in doubt, the motto of me is when in doubt, build from center out. Hey, damn, I should coin that term too because it rhymes. When in doubt, build from center out. Kind of is that way. It just kind of helps me visualize stuff. Centers. Glad that's on video. I'll remember it. Okay. So now I'm going to do that same iso circle here, and it's going to create, that little bit that I've got going. That's why I kind of didn't trim this. I just want to see how that fits first. So that same size of iso circle, I think we said it's a 1/2 inch, right? 1/2 inch radius. So here's my iso circle. Now I'm on the right surface plane is what I am. And so from here, it's just a 1/2 inch radius, so 0.5. I should see it hit there. That's good. I see that hits that bottom corner. And then what goes on here? I've just got to try to make sense out of this. So this is the surface that I want to keep right there. And then I want to see that little bit right there. So this is all going to get trimmed. I think so. Yeah, I'm going to definitely keep this as my keeper. I think. Yeah, could be wrong. Let's see. Even if I trim it, I can extend it if I trim it wrong. And I think I'll do this other thing while I'm here is that I knew that where these intersect here, I want to pull this back to the right side view, and I'll worry about trimming that out in a minute too. That's my front surface. Heck yeah, it's starting to make sense. And trim this out now. That's that one. I don't need this one. When it hits here, I'm just going to lose it I'm not going to see, I'm going to see that. I'm going to lose this. Definitely going to lose this. Lose that. Zoom in here, lose that. And that should be pretty good, right? Eventually I'm going to lose this. Like it's going to come out of view here. I could trim that now while I'm thinking about it. That's going to be disappeared, and so is this, right? Even through here and here. And eventually here too, I just haven't quite, yeah, I can knock it out there too. That'll help me kind of see it's looking good. Yeah, that's a good transition. Yes, good. And now it's just a matter of copying those over to their other center point. Now I've kind of trimmed them, and that's why this little branch I'm worried about. I'm not going to use that one. This is definitely going to be buried underneath that little. I'm not going to see any of that iso circle, but I will see the top one. So I feel like I need to copy this piece from its center, which is here, over to this center. That's why I have this other side of the branch here, right? And then I can pick up from there and draw it back and get ready to trim it how it needs to trim too. So definitely got to trim it on that end, but that's good. I see that run out take place there. Yeah. It kind of finishes that. At least I've hooked up into that back. That's tricky. That's for sure. I like this. And I'm not going to see the bottom box there. So yeah, this is starting to come together. I'll turn this off for a second. I know I'm going to go over a few more minutes here. It's going to take me 15 or 20 more minutes to get this pieced in, but that's looking pretty good. I got the recess I got to put in. I got to build all that. But this looks good. This one here. Yeah, it's like I've got to build this tree for sure, right? That same little tree that I went 7/8 up and 0.7071 over. I did that here. Built this little tree, 7/8, 0.7071 over. And then these are a 1/4 inch over, just so that puts me on this surface and on the backside surface. And then it was just a matter of now I have that. That's the center of the iso circle. That is a 1/2 inch radius iso circle there. And you'll see it'll be tangent to that magenta line that I have there, which I've traced over with a visible line. That's it. That's how. And I'm gonna have to do that. I'm gonna build these same little trees over here for this one is what I'm gonna do. So I think I'll focus on that first, then I'll come back and finish this feature. But I've got to build, so I've got to pull some dimensions off my orthographic view, I feel like. So let me go down there and measure it up. I want to know where these centers are. Oh, and I think I added I think I actually have those on my, it's funny that I added, you could I did put those in my drawing. I don't know if I probably didn't. I don't think I dinged anybody for not having these dimensions. I did put them on mine because it's kind of a location dimension for that arc. This could be said too that it would be helpful to have had. I would have used it right now. Sometimes just being tangent to tangent is sufficient enough though for someone to figure that. Um, but it could be that I should have dimensioned those center lines as well, like I've done here, because I've got these ones located. They're actually a 2.4. So in my original drawing, I have that dimension to that. And I've even put a little center line in there actually. So 2-inch radius, but I'm going to come over. So I've got to build this out and I'll build it from the center out as well. I'll come and build that same tree on that same layer, 0.24, and then it's 0.238 up. And I think I might increase this accuracy just a little bit. So I feel like this is definitely, I'm going to increase the precision out to 4 decimal places like I'm going to draw with. So it's 0.375 up. And I'm just going to check this one. I mean, this should be probably 2.4 or 2.4 is probably close enough, but I'll just drag this out. And I probably will draw that a little bit further. So I'm glad I checked. It's 0.24036. And that will help me for sure get a tangent to tangent relationship, I hope. Okay, let's try that. So let's build the tree that's based off of that. Um, maybe I'll write one of these in. 2 and 3/8 is easy for me to remember. 2.375. This one's not so easy. 2.4036. 4036. Okay. So I'm going to turn on this my little cylindrical box here. I'm gonna draw. This is the center of this is the center of the entire part on the right side surface. This bottom endpoint here, right? So from there I can kind of base my little tree off of that. So I think my tree was on this layer, construction layer 5. I'm gonna build that over here. Not the same dimensions, of course, but so I have to know that it comes over. That's that 40. So I'm gonna this is 2.4036 comes back that way. And then this way, they are the one that's easy for me to remember is 2.375 up. So that's the center of the part. And then I have to think of kind of like this way. It's they're going to be a 1/4 inch from there over to that front side surface and the back side surface. So from here, this will be the endpoints that I'm looking for. 0.25 there. And I'll repeat that this other direction. So there's my 2 centers for my ellipses there, or my iso circles. I'm going to draw that same tree below that I need. It's 2 and 3/8, 2.375. And then I also need to come back 0.25 in this projection plane and 0.25 there. Yes, that's what my tree looks like on this side. That's where those iso circles are based, which I'll probably only see the bottom one on the front surface and not the back surface. And I'll see both of them on this top side here. So I'll start with this one like I did. Let's go to a visible line. Oh yeah, we're gonna finish this up. Iso circle from this center point now. And I just need to know what the actual diameter is. I think it was a 2-inch radius, right? Let me double check that. A 2-inch typical radius, yes. So this is by radius. There it is, and it does intersect. That's a good sign. It does intersect this. Hopefully that'll trim out okay. And it actually hits that point too. That's a good sign, right? That I was anticipating that point of tangency being there. So all roads lead to this looks correct. Maybe I'll turn off these couple of construction layers while I trim this out, right? I only need it from there. I don't need this one here anymore. This is going to trim out. So, oh, I need to keep a little bit of that left here. Let's see here. Trim. Maybe I'll trim this one. Oh, wait, that one. This one. Wait a second. What am I doing? Don't do that. Trim. Trim it from here first. That's good. I probably am slightly not, probably slightly off itself there because it wants to, yeah, it is. Look, I'm just barely, I'll probably just pull these together and just kind of, it's just a matter of a little bit of inaccuracy here. I'm not going to dimension this, and I do want this to be able to trim out. So, I mean, there's a couple ways I could do that, but I feel like what I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to extend this. I'm going to cheat a little bit. This is definitely cheating. I wouldn't do this on a normal model for sure. I'm going to pull that. I'm not going to pull that necessarily. I'm going to undo that for a minute. I'm going to extend it. Let's see. See if I can extend it over to where that ISO circle is. I'm like, my zoom is like not working for some reason. Doesn't want to show me my. I'm going to pull that long and I'm going to trim this. Oh, it's kind of weird. It actually is acting just a little bit weird based off that geometry. Let me see if I can trim this one though. Oh, it kind of jogs it. It's kind of funny. Let me zoom out and take a look at what that's doing. If I could. Zoom. I had to like zoom all to get back in here. Just want to see what that's trimming like. That will trim now. So I've done a little manipulation there that isn't totally like anatomically correct for sure. It's going to look okay, but I'm just a fraction off. So I'm going to leave it like that. This is going to trim out there. So that's it's a pretty close representation, but I did fudge that a little bit for sure with some trim and extend. And now when I zoom in, I think I still got a little bit of a whisker that's kind of overlapping weird. And I'm going to leave it like that potentially. I'm way zoomed in. Oh, I can now start to kind of trim this. And I'm going to move this if I can while I'm in here. I'm just going to move this one so it hits those points. So it's a little bit, if I was actually to measure that or dimension that, it'd be a little bit off. I'm going to make that exception based off just my numbers and how they're driving with geometry. Let's turn back on my two. It's got some human line error there, but I'm going to copy this piece now from its center point over to this piece over here. And that's as much as I'll see on that other side right there. Now we'll see how this will trim. I want to see it there, and then I want to get rid of this. Oh, that's good. I think that trimmed correct for me, that one. That's good. That's top surface kind of done. Now I got to do that ISO circle down below. From this center point. I'm just going to draw it as it is. It's a 2-inch, right? Hits there, then hits there. This one will trim out quite a bit, and maybe won't be quite as difficult to trim, right? Like that one for sure. This, and hopefully this line will trim out. Yeah, and I got a little bit more to trim there. Oh yeah. So let me just toggle this off, take another look, make sure I don't need to do anything before I move on, but that looks correct, yeah. Treat it a little bit, but you can't even tell until the measurement comes out, and then it'll tell me. And then I'll just enter the measurement that I want, right? No, that's not great practice, but oh, if I really needed to dimension this, I probably would. You would probably see that I've probably done something like that here. I've probably faked one of these dimensions. You don't even know, but I generally don't do that. But I usually do. We usually are not dimensioning isometric views except for a problem like this, you know.
But the lines on the top little.
Yeah,
I think you have an extra environment.
like this one here. Is that what I'm thinking of? Of this one.
So it's supposed to
That,
be.
it do end with that one, but not that.
Oh yeah, what am I missing here? Something that oh like here, like this. Like this will trim out here is what I need to do. I see, I see. I need to extend this down. Oh, I see. Yes, yes, yes. Is this
No, you need to get rid of the straight one.
It's a blended surface, it's all.
Like right here.
Like the bottom of the team, not like the little lip on the left.
oh yeah. This one I need to get rid of. Yeah, I'm with you now. Good. Trim which line? That one. Yeah, that looks better, doesn't it? Heck yes, heck yes. I agree. That's good. Dang it. Which line? I'll just start trimming the heck. You know, my least favorite thing about trim is I'll be like trimming away like 15 trims and I'll be like, oh wait, stop, undo. And it's undoes all those trims, you know? I have to remember to I have to remember to break up my trim. If I'm doing a lot of trimming, break it up in a few sequences so that when you undo, it's not like all one undone, you know. That's kind of funny to me, but like you will have selected 20 trims and then you've selected one wrong, so you undo and it's like, dang it. Let's do so I gotta lay out the layout kind of from front side surface where the recess is though. Yep. So that's my I'm still going on here. It'd take me another probably 20 minutes actually. I lied how long. They're an eighth of an inch deep inset here. So I'll definitely draw it on the front surface here. 3 inch from center to center on the outside radiuses that are the quarter-inch radius that I don't have marked on this drawing. Is that correct? Do I have like yeah, I must have had that. I don't really show that I have those. Oh, well, okay. I do remember now. It's a half inch here. So it's kind of that, oh, can you remember this is a quarter-inch radius if this is a half? So I realize that I have it. I just have it kind of hidden in another dimension. Okay. Quarter-inch radius. Yep. 3 inches apart. They really start what at this 2 inches from front face. So that's kind of this 2 inch dimension. Yes. Then 3 inches. So I'm gonna lay that out. I'm gonna lay that out on on that magenta colored tesseract here, right there. This line going across from the bottom surface is kind of a little bit annoying, a little bit for this particular, but I'll keep it on there. I just got to keep track of it. What I want to do is a little construction work on that same layer, I think. Just want to know the center of, this is 3/4 here. So from center back, I think I'll just pull this line through. Look for its midpoint. There it is. On plane. Yes, good. So that's the center line of the front surface. And I'm going to go over 2 inch and put a create my center cross here. So let's see here. From here, it's 2 inches over is where this one starts. And then yeah. And then I'm gonna move that over, do the same thing from there over, right? This is 3 inches apart. This one is. Yeah, so there's my center pattern there. Don't get it confused with that one. That's the backside edge, back bottom edge. ISO circles, I think I'm ready for them right there. From here, these are 1/4 inch ISO circles. Copy that over. Yeah, this won't be too bad to finish actually. I think I'll draw a line from quadrant here to quadrant. I'll trim that all up. Then I'm just gonna copy that to the depth of that, which is I think an eighth of an inch. Yeah. So I just need to mark maybe like on one of my, I'll put it on this construction layer. I'm just going to pick one of my center points and draw back. It's an eighth of an inch, so I'm going to pick this center point for no reason. I could have picked the front one too, or the right side one, but I'm going to go back here, what, 0.125, which may or may not be, yeah, it looks like it's almost in perfect alignment with that backside edge. It's not necessarily intentional, but I'm going to place it on that endpoint. So I'm going to copy this. I'll copy everything. I know I won't see the top, so maybe I won't copy the top. I'll see the bottom and these edges potentially a little bit. Maybe I won't see that one. If I copy those from this center point over to this center point, and then I'll just turn this off and trim it here. Yeah, I didn't see much. Didn't really need that. And then I didn't need this. And I didn't copy the top edge, so that's it. That's the recess. That's a pretty simple one to put in, actually. Couple of ISO circles, couple of lines connecting them. One little depth that you would see, and that is that one's done. Done. Get rid of this. That's just going to be a matter of a mess to probably align this on my sheet, right? Like I was originally at a 3/4 scale. I think I probably had to reduce this. I probably have this up on this assignment sheet, what I ended up with. Oh, I kept mine at a 3/4 scale. So let me bring that in and see if that's just that easy. I may have to push it over and well, maybe I'll do a little bit of the other thing I'm going to fix is that I don't need, I did pull those dimensions. I'm going to leave them off, but they're not annotated for one. So these two dimensions I pulled on mine was just so I could know what they were, but they weren't original dimensions on the drawing sheet. My other ones were, I actually left those. I'm just going to push them back to their accuracy being 2 decimals like they were on my sheet originally. So now that's the only real modification I made to my orthographic views. I'm just ready to add a layout here. So I'll go to viewport. So add my viewport here up in this upper kind of corner. I built a 3/4 scale on mine when I did mine, but it looks like this is actually one of the easier, the bigger pain is definitely that auxiliary support to get it to fit on this one's okay. This one actually, if I move that over, even though it's in that other viewport, this actually clips pretty well, or it won't, this will be great. I'll lock that down while I'm in there though. Let me lock it. Okay. Take a quick preview of what the PDF's gonna look like. Need to update I'll update my title block on this one before I turn off like I didn't do on my last video, but I could move it over just a little bit more. So I'll say I'm not going to save it yet. Cancel. Yeah, so this one, push it to Rev1, right? Rev1. It's the only thing that needs changed in there. I'll have to change my names. You can tell because I've named mine differently. I've got a clash of name and drawing number. I'll have to fix this. Not that they always have to match. In my case, they always match, and then I'll change this. Push my rev block to this is my next revision. My revision happened on the 18th, 2025. Push me to Rev1, and I'll change that to say added viewport. Added ISO view, I think is all added ISO view on that. Okay. And I've got to fix my drawing name for sure because it's clashing with my rev box, but that's what I'll do. I'll fix that. Already got it saved as a new, yep. Heck yeah. That's the end of this one. That's the end of, should be the last drawing we need this week.